Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It's Sunday night, February 5th, 2023. Tonight we're going to be talking about sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix, why there's no real hype, and quite frankly, I'm worried about some of these guys, to be fair. I have to ask the question, is this just incel bait, or is there an actual effort to try to get Zack Snyder's vision continued? We're going to be talking about that and a whole hell of a lot more here on Hollywood After Dark, folks. Let's fucking go! Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. Sorry, I'm a little bit late tonight, I know. This is my fault, fully admit. So I get home from doing my delivery driving and I realize, you know what I should do? I have about 45 minutes until the show starts. I should probably record the audio commentary for Silent Hill so I can have that up for the patrons tomorrow. And it took a little bit longer than I thought to go into Silent Hill. This is unfortunately, I'm sorry, that's how it happened. But anyway, holy crap, guys. We gotta talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League selling to Netflix and why I feel things are getting a little bit out of hand. I do. I can't tell. It's a grift that keeps on grifting, guys. Really, really, really is. So let's check in real quick with everybody. All right, Garrick for 5 right off the bat. Thank you so much. It says, did you see that copies of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, The Authority comic have sold out on Amazon? Proof that audiences are excited for the DCU. Yes, I have seen that, to be fair. I have actually seen that quite a bit. I think one of the interesting things about that, let me see if I can actually bring up the tweet here from James Gunn, because James Gunn was talking about it. And look, that's a great thing, right? That's a fantastic thing with everything on that front. This is actually from a couple days ago. Let me just get this up on the screen so you guys can see it. But really, when we're talking about, you know, the people getting into all of these things that could happen with these movies and stuff. Yeah, this stuff's going to sell out. Now, if you recall, right, one of the, when you had the Zack Snyder turkey image, right, the infamous turkey image, and there was the Final Crisis books that were in the background. A lot of people thought that was an indicator. They thought that was an Easter egg. They thought that it was a hint, that it was a tickle. It was a tease. It was an indication of things to come, when in reality it wasn't. But those books started selling pretty well on Amazon. So if there's ever big comic book news to some extent about what could be happening, then those books are going to probably end up selling. I would argue that if William Sci-Fi Center, I don't know if he's listening. I don't even know if he pays attention to me anymore. He used to. But if he runs a comic shop out of Las Vegas. And he has talked about that, where it's like, his job is to get people in the door. And then once they're in the door, keep selling them stuff. But that a lot of these people, they might hear about it and get interested and come on in. And I know, and I'm paraphrasing it, and I'm probably not giving it the impact that it deserves. But on this specific front, yes, if you have got these comic books that are starting to sell on Amazon, that's a good news. And I saw someone try to downplay this as saying, well, there was only a couple of copies that they probably would have had in stock. And so obviously them selling out is just because they would have had limited availability. Whether or not that's true, irregardless, what you have now is you've got the Streisand effect. So you've got these comic books, right? You've got these comic books that are now going to be turned into movies, which means that their value is going to go up. And if you ever listen to Lords of the Long Box, their YouTube channel run by Tim Vo, Tim's a great guy. They talk about comics that are being, I think it's like characters that are being looked at by studios and look to see which some of these comics you should be checking out if you want to buy some runs before they become super popular. If you want to sell it. I should get him on here one night to talk a bit about that because it's an interesting thing. However, the comic selling is good. In this particular case, now that James Gunn is overseeing DC Studios, which I think has a lot to do with DC Comics as well, he says here that he has spoken with Jim Lee, and and DC Comics will be reprinting everything very soon to meet the demand. What really finds me to be interesting about all of this overall has a lot to do with, let me see here. What I find to be the most interesting thing about it is that James Gunn is doing for DC what I don't think a lot of other things have done for DC, right? Now, look, one of the, I have to give credit to DC Films for a couple things, right? I have to give credit to Black Adam actually too. One of the things I thought was really fascinating about like the Suicide Squad release, about Black Adam's release, and about other elements of DC is that when they have the advertisements, they will in fact advertise the comics that these are based off of at the end of the ad. They did that with Black Adam, which is great. It's great because that is a way for general members of the audience who do not know who these characters are, who want to get a primer for who these characters are, to be able to come on in and get that information. They'll be able to come on in and have some good spaces to start. And the hopefulness there is that once you get them hooked on these stories, they'll clearly want to seek out more. That is why this stuff is actually really good. So yeah, if Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and The Authority are selling out, then fantastic. Let them sell out. Make a big deal of it. I mean, make a huge, overwhelmingly positive deal about it, because that's going to bring more people to want to check out those comics simply because of curiosity. But it's the people out there that are shitting on it. I find that to be so weird. The people that are just going like, they're only selling because they were talked about last week on the fucking thing. Yeah, go back to the Final Crisis omnibus from the Turkey Picture, from Vero, from Thanksgiving 2021. That ended up pushing sales of fucking Final Crisis on Amazon. That omnibus was selling out pretty quickly on there because people were buying it based upon seeing the image. Certain things can trigger a fan base to buy something. I mean, that's never a fucking bad thing, you guys, right? It's never a bad thing. So it's just ridiculous, in my opinion, that you've got people that will celebrate it happening with Zack Snyder, but they're going to admonish it when it happens with James Gunn. It just goes to show you the pure levels of absolute hypocrisy that are coming out of all this shit. And that's just the saddest thing. All right, so let's jump in here. Let's see. Ash here says Gunn's DCU was a Final Crisis for Snyder Bros. It kind of was. It was. You know, it really is. I mean, look, it's one of those scenarios where you just gotta take it in stride, I guess. But of course, things are always kind of escalating on their own fronts. Real quick, by the way, guys, I wanted to say that if you were looking for last night's live stream, it was blocked worldwide because we checked out like a minute and a half of a K-pop song. So yeah, that's frustrating. I'm waiting for it to be taken care of. I don't know how long it's going to take, but yeah, that's why last night's episode is gone in case you were interested. Reed here asking, did you see Organized Chaos debate Eric July? No, I did not. I'm not the biggest Organized Chaos fan. I don't really vibe with his energy very much. And I've had a little bit of trouble. Like every time I tune in to what Dane is up to, it's always just like Chud Watch stuff. And so I'm not always in the mood for it. If it's good, maybe we can check it out at some point in time or find highlights of it, but I don't know how long it is. So there's that. But all right, a couple more supers to get to here. The Batman Part 2 for 5. Thank you. It says thoughts on the Batman Part 2 moving from a March release to October. Okay, so I don't really mind that too much. I think the March release for the Batman a year ago was pretty good. The first weekend of March does pretty well for comic books. So having it go to October is actually an okay thing as well, because October is actually, the first week of October is actually also really good for comic books. Joker, Venom 2. I mean, you know, what was the other one? Black Adam came out later on in the month, and that only had a couple weeks on its own before Black Panther came out. So by releasing, you know, the Batman Part 2, you got about what, 5-6 weeks until the next Avengers movie, right? I think, no, Secret Wars got moved, right? So there's nothing there. So it opens up the holiday season for a while on comic book front, and it just makes the most amount of sense. So I think that's going to be all right. I'm okay with that 100%. I don't mind waiting a little bit longer. I just want it to be good. I know 2.5 years is going to suck, but it is what it is. So we'll do that there. Command unit here asking, do we have time for a 6-minute, 34-second video? Yeah, we can do it at the end. It is a school night. It is Sunday night. This episode will be a little bit on the quicker side just because I have the kids take them in the morning. And unfortunately, given where things are, if certain things happen, I'll have to be up a lot earlier with the kids. So I have to, it's going to be crazy. Anyway, Garrick for 5, thank you, buddy, says, what is more credible? Mike Zero, we got this covered, Heroic Hollywood, or Geekosity? I'm going to go with Heroic Hollywood because they're shitty, but they're less shitty. They're less shitty. Speaking of Geekosity, I actually wanted to touch upon that real quick. So you remember how the other day I talked about how Mikey Sutton's Dreamwalker magazine, a comic, had gotten optioned for a television show in the Philippines, and it was written about in Variety, and there was a whole big thing about it within like the Snyder Bros movement and whatever. But I thought it was really fascinating that there was an article written on Geekosity, except now there finally has been. So it was actually written. You've got, here we go, right? You've got a little bit more happening in regards to this, but it took a couple days, right? February 3rd, this thing dropped 2-3 days before then. And it wasn't even written by Mikey himself. He got Edwin Francisco, which, as far as I understand it, Edwin's not even writing for the website anymore. I thought he moved over to small screen anyway, because I know his wife did. And so you've got, here you've got the thing, right? So, according to Sutton here, he's interviewing Mike Sutton, who's the owner of the website, about Mikey's own comic book. I just thought that was really, really, really funny. All right. I just thought that was really, really, really funny that instead of writing the article himself, he goes to somebody else to write it. And then the thing's not even up for a couple days. And then they want to go and they want to talk about this one here. Here we go. Mikey Sutton. Now he writes about it. Mikhail Red's horror movie Eerie influenced the Dreamwalker TV series he'll now direct. So, it's a lot. Here we go. Mikhail Reed will be directing the streaming adaptation of Dreamwalker influenced by his powerful horror film Eerie. No, this isn't a scoop. I don't need a source to tell me this. In this case, I am the source. I'm sorry. To me it's funny because it's just like write the guy, here you write about the director doing this, but you don't want to write your own press release, which is just pretty funny. And the press release wasn't even on his own website, which to me is just hysterical. It's just hysterical on that shit. So yeah, it's not even a ghostwriter. It was somebody else that he knows that was working for him. But in the meantime, yeah, we got this. Also, command unit. Okay. I see the video. I'll prep that till the end. Okay, great. But anyway, I just thought that was pretty funny. Like, it's just, I saw that, I went looking for it, and it is what it is. It is what it is. What also cracked me up too is, the woman. So there was, I kind of, you know what? I'll bring it up because I like to call out. It's not that I like to call out. I like to criticize what I feel is bad journalism, right? I like to criticize what I feel is bad journalism. And part of that is even when you got to criticize your friends. And that's kind of where we've got the situation. I got to find the tweet again. But there was, it was over on small screen. There was, you know what? Hold on, I can find it. Okay. So, all right, here we go. So it's about The Rock. So bear with me on that one. It's about The Rock. All right. So this was tweeted out on small screen the other day. Breaking news. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is building his new cinematic universe with the upcoming Red One. It's going to be called The Rock Cinematic Universe The Rock Cinematic Universe, or the TRCU for short. Hashtag Dwayne Johnson, hashtag Netflix. And then you can read the full story there. So here's the thing. What about this is already wrong? right? What about this is already wrong? Well, how about the fact that the red one is not on Netflix? It's on Amazon. Not Netflix, Amazon. Red Notice is on Netflix. Red One is on Amazon. Now, it could be, you could look at that and you could go, okay, that is definitely, a common mistake. All right. It's an easy mistake to make. Red Notice, Red One, Amazon, Netflix, Black Adam with Warner's. He's doing the spectrum of the rainbow, guys. We don't know what it might be yet. But here's when we get into the article, because I just find the article to be holy crap. All right. Is a small screen guy here? No, he's not. But I got to contact the owner of the site about this one too. I'm just calling it out here for laughing. All right. So we got Joylyn, who came over from Geekosity. Dwayne Johnson is building his next movie universe. Okay, great. Right. So Dwayne Johnson tweets, back to work with J.K. Simmons to bring the next Christmas movie to look forward to in Red One. With $7 Productions, he's seemingly picking himself up from the Black Adam rubble. To me, here we go. Look at this. To me, it seems as though Johnson is already starting work on what we're going to refer to as The Rock's Cinematic Universe, or the TRCU for short. Now, come back over to this tweet. And they said, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is building his new cinematic universe with the upcoming Red One. It's going to be called The Rock Cinematic Universe, or TRCU for short. That's not what the article says. The article says it's their speculation. It's their speculation. You know what I mean? All right. And then this is the tweet. Santa the Rockstar, in honor of having his 6. Oscar winner and the coolest dude in the North Pole, J.K. Simmons, bringing Santa's big old beautiful heart to life. More to come. Back to work. Commander of the ELF. Red One, Amazon Studio, $7. I mean, it's just, again, there's nothing in there that is building out the cinematic universe. That is unless Red One, Joy here, and again, I don't know, but Joy here is trying to argue that Red One is in fact a sequel, or the sequel to Red Notice, right? I mean, isn't that a little bit on the crazy side, right? Isn't that just a little bit on like, what the hell? It's just, okay. It's just, I mean, look, maybe I'm nitpicking that. Maybe I'm just nitpicking that a little bit. But when you look at what the tweet says, which is fundamentally wrong, it tags the wrong studio, and then says The Rock is building out a cinematic universe and it's called the TRCU. And then you go to the article and the article says, to me, this is what's going to happen. So speculatory. And then what we're, meaning small screen, again, speculatory, are going to refer to it as The Rock's cinematic universe. And there's no mention of that. There's just no mention of that. Now, look, here's the thing with this. I like small screen. I like Edward. I like James. I like all those guys. I have nothing against them. This is some egregious shit, in my opinion. Only because it's like either they weren't paying attention to what they were doing, or they blatantly got things wrong. And the fact that it's been up now for 6 days. It's been up for 6 days. And no one has changed it. No one has said anything. It's like, okay, guys, there's a lack of oversight here. And the problem is you get people like me that pay attention to this shit when I see it. And I don't like there to be a lot of misinformation. All right. I don't like there to be a lot of that kind of shit. So it's like, this is the thing. So I got to reach out to Edward and let him know. But I just, you know what? Hey, I mean, again, I'm just saying all they got to do is change that and then tell, their people to be more careful. I can't help but shake a little bit of chuckle, right? There's a little bit of humor. There's a little laugh in the back of my head that the new hire from Geekosity makes this kind of error, right? I mean, right? Am I the only one on that one? Is it only me who's kind of just chuckling at that a little bit? It is what it is. Yeah, Adam here says, I mean, there's mistaking it for being a sequel, and then there's being egregiously disingenuous. And I think we're on the egregiously disingenuous side. Command Unit here says there's a lot of movies with the word red in the title that are completely different from each other. That is very true. So I don't quite know what exactly Joe is going for here, to be honest with you, but you're right. Garrick here for 5-2. Also, thank you, buddy. I just can't get excited for Dwayne Johnson movies. He's so desperate to start his own franchise, and all his solo projects have been so disposable. That's actually really true. What I would like to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson do is to go smaller, which I don't think his ego can handle. I think like if he were to do something that was in the vein of, let's say, John Wick. Now, John Wick at this point has become a massively globe-trotting adventure that people out there love, but they built it out. The concept from the first movie was really interesting. You have a former mob hitman who was like the baddest of the bad. They call him Baba Yaga, all right, the witch. And they are afraid of him. And then one dude kills his dog that was given to him by his wife who died of cancer. And now he's like, I'm going to kill everybody. It's simple motivation. The world building is excellent. The budget on that movie was not very big. And as each iteration comes, the action gets a little bit bigger, but they focus on the characters. They focus on the ancillary characters. They focus on the world building, and they make it intriguing to the audiences who want to know more. And then from there, they've earned the money that they've made, and they've earned the increases to the budget. There is no reason that Black Adam right off the bat needed to have a $200 million budget. It doesn't matter if it was COVID reshoots or not. You know, that when Shazam was $100 million, Black Adam should have maybe been 125 at most. But Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wants his $20 million right off the bat. So there's a lot of that went into that. So, you know, and also here's the thing, guys, it's been over a year, almost a year and a half since Red Notice came out. And there's been absolutely zero movement on Red Notice 2 and 3, which were greenlit by Netflix. No movement, no talk, no mentioning, no nothing. And now Dwayne is over at Amazon for the Red One, which is a movie that is meant to kick off a franchise. And literally, they said this in the very first press release for the Red One. It was supposed to do movies, merchandise, and like maybe comics or games or whatever. I don't know, like whatever they could do. And apparently the Red One is something that was an idea created by Hiram Garcia, which they also very much tried to make a household name and kind of failed. Very interesting. Now, Rhea here says, The Rock begrudgingly accepting his own limitations and accountability for his faults would be a rad narrative to see him in. 100%, Rhea. 100%. This is kind of the thing that I talk about when I criticize The Rock. I talk a lot about his ego, and his ego is making him a villain in entertainment, right? But Outlord here says, I want my 20 million off the bat as well. I would happily be the next Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis was not getting 20 million off the bat, but yeah, I know, right? I know. I would love to get the money on that as well. Garrick here says The Rock ain't no Schwarzenegger or Stallone. He's not, but I mean, I think he's got the charisma to be like that. He just has to pick these better projects. The problem is that Stallone and Schwarzenegger knew when to pick an R-rated movie, and they knew when to pick like a PG-13 film. In fact, Stallone, like outside of the Rocky movies and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, and you know, only really did like, I think he did Oscar, which was great, by the way. Oscar is a fantastic comedy. That's only PG-13, I believe. But when he got into action, you know, Assassins rated R, The Specialist rated R, you know, you had a couple, you had Get Carter rated R, a bunch of other movies, you know, Copland rated R. That was a James Mangold film. The Rambo movies rated R. I mean, he's just done rated R stuff. All the Expendables movies, well, with the exception of number 3. And that killed the franchise. So, you know, there's that. So even Stallone had his R-rated movies, but yeah, he also did like, you know, Kindergarten Cop, which is a family film. The Last Action Hero, which you could argue was a family film, but a fun action adventure movie. Junior, which was a family film. Twins. I mean, he expanded his repertoire into more family-friendly fare in the 90s, but he still had Eraser, True Lies. You know, he still had his R-rated movies that people still went out to. End of Days at the end of the century. They did a bunch of stuff back then that you know were this mixed bag of ratings that were meant to kind of touch upon the different quadrants of people. The Rock at this point wants to be everything to everyone, and I think he's no one to no one. I think when you start to try to please everyone, you please no one, and that's just where he is. So there we have it on that one there. All right. Maverick here says the first problem with that article is that this person inserted themselves into it. That's a big journalism no-no, unless it's an opinion piece. I mean, like, here's the thing with that, Maverick. At this point in time, you have to understand that when it comes to like, there's no journalism anymore. Even I would probably like not insert myself into something. You know, I like to insert into things. That sounds dirty. That sounds really dirty. But that's just me. That's just me, guys. That's just me. But anyway, so we got that going on right there. There's a super chat here. Okay, another thing. Thank you, Garrick, by the way. Another thing about Red One is it seems like they're prioritizing building a franchise and merchandising than making a good movie. Yes, but Jake Kasdan, who directed the other two Jumanji movies, is directing this one. So there's a fair amount of talent there behind the scenes and also in front of the camera that I think is going to end up really making it something maybe worth giving a watch on there. But obviously, look, if you look at what Amazon has been up to recently, Amazon is ramping up some serious shit. Like, Amazon is ramping things up. They're going to start putting these movies in theaters before they go streaming. Like, Amazon with that $8 billion acquisition of fucking MGM is making a gun for theaters, and it's going to put the pressure on Netflix to do it. And they absolutely should. They absolutely should. So, I'm looking forward to it, to be fair. This is, here says, I still want to wipe out Arnold Schwarzenegger became pregnant out of my head. No, Junior is a good movie. Junior is a good movie. Okay. Emma Thompson, Danny DeVito. It's a good movie. All right. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So, anyway, Taylor, he says, I want to see something about Fallout. Goddamn right, dude. Goddamn right. Also, look, if you just go back and watch Junior, dude. Junior's a solid movie. All right. It's a solid film. It's perfectly fine. Nothing there to worry about. I mean, it's a fun family movie. That's all it is. That's what it is. There's one other thing here I forgot to pull up real quick. There was a, today, for example, I'm trying to find the article for it, that Avatar, The Way of Water, has now been knocked out of the top spot. It's been there for goddamn near 2 months, but it actually was knocked out of the top spot by none other than M. Night Shyamalan's The Knock at the Cabin, which only earned $14 million. I think 80 for Brady also did pretty well, and Avatar dropped down to like number 3, I think. I'm just going to double check this here because I remember there being a top 10. Like the top 10 was a pretty big thing back in the day. Like you would always look at the paper and see what the top 10 was, and then now it's whatever. Okay, so Knock at the Cabin did 14 million, 80 for Brady did 13 million, Avatar The Way of Water did 11 million, Puss in Boots did 8 million. By the way, Puss in Boots has now crossed over $150 million domestic, and it's a fantastic movie that you all should see. But 80 for Brady may have done 13 this weekend. It's gonna die next weekend. I'm sorry. I know it's the Super Bowl, but I don't see it like lasting. So Avatar, I think Avatar could probably come back into the number 2 or maybe even number 1 spot because it's going to be the holiday weekend, or not the holiday, the football game and everything. Rational here for 5. Thank you. Says, Matt, in Blank Check, was it okay for the bank teller to go on a date with that kid? No, it wasn't. But wasn't Bridget Monahan in Blank Check? Was that Bridget Monahan who was in that movie? I think, was she the bank teller? No, she was hold on, Blank Check. Who was in Blank Check? Let's see here. Okay. I'm looking this up. I'm just going to bring this up on screen so you guys can see it while I'm looking at it too. All right. So this is Blank Check. You've got, oh no, was it Karen? It was Karen Duffy, wasn't it? That's who it was. It was Karen Duffy. What did I think? Bridget Monahan. So I think this was her. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The last movie she was in was, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Wow. She wasn't in much. I mean, she got, 2004 to 2009. Wow. A couple things. But there you go. I think that's her. Right? That's who we're talking about here. I haven't seen Blank Check in a long time. It was Karen. Yeah, you guys got it right. Let's see here. Simon here for 5. Thank you, buddy. It says, I don't feel like I've seen you in a while, Simon. How you been? Anyway, I just saw Knock at the Cabin. Cabin in the Woods would be a good double bill feature. Yeah. I mean, they both, I haven't seen Knock at the Cabin yet, but I've seen Cabin in the Woods multiple times. I love that movie. And I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna try to get out there because I was thinking about it. I was thinking about like Podio commentary tonight, and it's like I'm looking at my analytics, right? And here I'll show you guys this shit, right? Because like I haven't really been promoting the podcast. Like I let it sit for quite some time. I let it sit for like, God, how long was it? April of last year to like just recently. So it's been kind of like, it's been a bit of a slow rebuild because that's kind of how this stuff happens. So here, check this out, right? So this is the episode. These are just for the podcast. This isn't YouTube. This is just the podcast. But like, interestingly enough here, I did the Adam Project, and this was from March 24th. You can see here, March 24th to December 18th. So it was a long wait, 9 months without posting a Podio commentary. That's how bad. I don't know why I let it dip. I just let it dip. But the Adam Project has 509 downloads. I don't know what it is about that. I mean, all these other ones here ended up doing okay as well. But a lot of these also were like Godzilla v Kong was an episode I published right after the movie came out. I've let this lapse quite a bit. The project has not gone on as well as I would have liked, but newer movies have done better in the view count. So I got to figure out how to talk about newer films as well as the older films. So that's kind of where we are with this. I was just showing you guys for like how like watching older movies doesn't always tend to do as well as watching newer movies because newer movies are on people's minds. And did anyone here watch SNL last night? I would show the clip, but it would get blocked worldwide because SNL does that. But there's a skit last night where Pedro Pascal is on a game show for like, it's all about a movie trivia game show. And they start bringing up like contemporary stuff. One of the questions is like, what's the most popular show on Netflix? It's Ginny and blank, and none of them could answer it. What movie was written and directed by Sarah Polley that's up for Best Picture? None of them could answer it. But you ask an obscure quote from a 1950s film, these guys fucking got it. And I'm watching this today and I'm laughing my ass off because, all of these podcasts that I listen to, and I check out a fair amount of them, you have all these, like these movie podcasts, and quite frankly, Podio commentary is very similar, but you have these podcasts where all they do is they go back to like the same well. It's like, look, I did, what last week was, what was last week? It was, the Book of Eli. That episode just dropped. That's kind of a cult movie from back in 2010. Silent Hill is one people have seen, but it's still kind of a known one. I mean, My Bloody Valentine, that's a bit more of an obscure one from back in the day. And then at the end of the month is The Running Man, which is, again, another popular film we're talking about in Schwarzenegger's, history. And then even for March, I'm looking at like The Frighteners and I think like Strange Days, James Cameron's Catherine Bigelow's movie from back in the mid 90s. And it's like older movies that might attract a bit of a more, I guess you could say like, new one, like, I don't know, like a different audience of people who just want to talk about older movies. But then it's like the newer ones are what people are looking for. It's a weird thing. That's all I'm saying. It's a weird thing. Just the first Silent Hill movie. Yeah, I haven't seen Revelations. Taylor asking, still haven't seen Book of Eli. Where is it streaming? Where is it streaming at? Let me look real quick. I want to say HBO Max. Yeah, it's on HBO Max because it's a Warner Brothers movie. So, also it's on Amazon Prime. It says here with the premium. Oh no, it's HBO Max. It's HBO Max. Yeah. So, thoughts on the cursed Arnold baby and Jr.? I don't remember that necessarily. So, All right. Let's see. What do I think of the new Night Court? I haven't seen it. I have not seen it. I need to, because I love the original Night Court. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. I can I still sing the theme song to myself. So I still love it. But in this particular case, I haven't watched this new stuff yet. Let me see. Did I miss? Okay, no, I got everything. Okay, cool. We are caught up here. Can you request a Podio commentary for the 2012 film Upside Down? Let's see. What is this one here? Upside Down is Kirsten Dunst. I don't know this one. All right. Thought is forbidden. A man, Jim Sturgis, devises a way to reunite with his long-lost love from the twin world that sits just above his own. Oh, interesting. Wasn't there another movie with like Britt Marling that was very similar to that? I mean, eventually we might get to that. Again, Rational, I've got the perk on the Patreon for specific requests. So there's that. Actually, hey, what's up, Dane? It says here, I heard Little Movie Perp saw your movie. He did see my movie. In fact, he actually left a review on, what's it called? On fucking Letterboxd, actually. So he left a review here, saying, I didn't see the twist coming. Good acting and some nice character work that touches on the isolation and loneliness that gets guys, to do desperate things just to find companionship. God, it's kind of funny. We'll be talking about the Snyder Cut stuff, the Snyder fandom. And it kind of ties into some of the themes of my own movie. The only thing here is that he marked it as 2012 when it came out in 2010, but whatever. Yeah, what's so funny is I actually saw, you can do it. It's free. The movie's literally free to watch. It's literally free. Here, look, you can just go to ISO-the movie. The movie's right here. The movie's right here. It's ISO-themovie.com. You can check it out. It's literally right there. It's for free to watch. But here's the thing with that, Rational. I might open it up for specific people, who are frequent to HWAD. I'll grant, but we'll figure that out. So hit me up, whatever. So yeah, it's right there. I have the whole website for it. It's on Tumblr for a reason. But I actually I'm gonna go right ahead. EFAP it. It's free. Go right ahead. That's if you want to EFAP my movie, EFAP could EFAP my movie. I'm surprised. Have you seen it, Rhea? Have you actually watched my film? Here's the thing. I showed this movie to The Amazing Atheist. I told him about it on stream. His buddies all watched it. They all made fun of it. I showed it to a guy last night. Actually, we were talking, and he's he's done screenwriting, and he was he got really sick, so his whole family's been watching all the top film contenders, right? The nominees for this year's Oscars, and he's like, "Oh yeah, last night we watched 5 of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture," and he's like, "Everyone's still asleep, so I'm watching In Search Of while I get ready this morning." And then I'm like, "Oh, cool. Thank you." And he responds back with, "It did its job. It kept me watching." And he says nothing else positive or negative, which we all know is just, it's just subtext for it's just a nice way of saying this sucked. But I'm also well, you just got done watching 5 movies that are nominated for Best fucking Picture. And you then wake up in the morning and you watch a 72-minute, 13-year-old, independent found footage thriller about an idiot trying to find love on the internet. You're just not going to get the same kind of satisfaction out of it. Let's see. Ray here says, I see your trailer for it on the show often. Yeah, I do. But I don't think you shared the whole thing. I did one time, Raya, where I had actually I did a premiere. It was a midnight. It was a 9 p.m. Pacific release. I just did a special screening of it. I think there was 8 people watching the whole thing, and then no one cared. It was really funny, but I'll do it again. I have no mind. You saw this on Twisted Mind. Oh, really? They talked about this? Oh yeah. They would have definitely brought this up with Andy Worski back in the day. Yeah. Kyler was like obsessed with me. Like obsessed with me. I can't even begin to tell you how obsessed with me Kyler was. Very weird, Blockateel. So also we've got this. Yeah, check it out. ISO-themovie.com. Free to watch. Compelling story. Best movie you'll never see. Right? And be sure to stay through the end credits. There's a thing at the end credits that people don't catch. But thank you for that one. All right. This is for 5. Thank you. Says the theme song to Night Court is literally just one musical instrument. It is. And it's the best one. Thank you. Adam here says, I watched it, actually enjoyed it. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. Ralph Stubble Tits here says, I remember when they found your Blu-ray channel. Yeah, I actually started changing the titles of those videos to not have that. To make fun of them for it. But yeah, Blu-ray therapy kind of died because I should have done it years ago, but yeah. Thank you for that one here. Reed asking, do you still have those glasses? From the movie? Those are my Ray-Bans, actually. Those are prescription glasses. Here, I'll bring it back up on the screen. Here, this is my stupid, my idiotic fat face. I definitely look better at 40 than I did at 28, right? No gray, but just fat. Anyway, yeah, no, those are my prescription Ray-Bans that I got. Like, God, when did I get those? 2006, I think, is I got those. Like, those Ray-Bans, I'd had those things for years. Yeah. So I would love to get them again. Now I just use clip-ons because I'm lazy as fuck, and I don't feel like paying for prescription sunglasses, so I don't have to. I'm very pretty. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, that was me from back then. It's just like there's pictures I've seen of me, like just side shots of me that are just like so fucking. I look like a barrel with arms. It's just sad. It's just fucking sad. But that is that, folks, is just where we are. What can I say? So, all right, here. So instead of looking at my fat, dumb face, which again, ISO-themovie.com, I did show it, by the way. I did show this movie to a producer who had four-walled a film that he had made with Danny Trejo at our theater in Pasadena. And this was in the fall of 2010. And I showed him the movie, and he came back and he goes, it's like Clerks meets the Blair Witch Project with a splash of Paranormal Activity. That was his quote. And that, to me, that was like the nicest thing anyone has ever said about anything I've ever made. Because for one, I love all three of those films, like implicitly love all three of those films. So, you know, I think there's a certain niche people have, you know, with that I think this, like, I could see In Search Of doing well with like horror fans and people who just love objectively bad movies versus like someone who's like, yes, I like the finer qualities of cinema. You know, like, I don't like to watch cheap gore. I like to watch fine artistic murder. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to work. But honestly, I just really enjoy schlocky things. So yeah, anyway, check it out. Maybe we'll do a watch party one night if anyone would want to do that. I could maybe get Mark to come on. Maybe, you know, he largely tends to ignore that he made this movie with me, but I always remind him of it. Garrick here says, did you see Ben Shapiro's reaction to The Last of Us? I did. I'll check that out. Actually, Garrick, can you do me a solid? Can you DM me that list you made of the movies versus each other? I need to think of ways to start building out the Podio Commentary Twitter, and that's kind of a good way to do that. But yeah, we'll bring up real quick the Ben Shapiro, the Ben Shabibo thing with him and all that crap with Twitter, because the dude is just, my God, that guy, that effing guy, man. He is just, I swear, I didn't know that this was I was actually watching Sam Cedar take down Ben Shapiro tonight in a video, and I was thinking about this and I didn't know if it was real or fake. I didn't know if this was real or fake. So, but it's good to see that it's real. So this is how, if you saw the episode 3, 10 Miles West of Boston last week of The Last of Us, you got to experience 1 hour and 15 minutes of just sublime storytelling. Of that episode has sat with me for days. And it's so good, so well done. And I find it to be very weird that so many straight dudes out there are so fearful of their own sexuality that intimacy between two men in the wake of an apocalypse is something that is so foreign to them, you know? It's kind of weird. But anyway, Shapiro here says, and I wish I had a Shapiro voice enhancer, I just don't. The entire episode has no zombies, no real threat. It's about two gay dudes who meet and have a relationship in which one grows strawberries for the other, and then they die by not being killed by zombies. One gets cancer and decides to essentially euthanize themselves, and gay Ron Swanson decides that he also is going to commit suicide at the same time because of Romeo and Juliet, or Romeo and Romeo in this particular case. It's all really well produced and beautifully shot. However, there's a problem with Brokeback Zombie Farm. It's a zombie show, and there are no zombies. In this episode, there are no zombies in the zombie show. This is worth pointing out. It literally has nothing to do with the plot of the show. Except, there was one zombie in the show. All right, there was one zombie in the show, and he got shot in the head. There were some raiders, which is also a part of The Last of Us. There was a zombie that Ellie found in the beginning. You know, but zombies, again, aren't everywhere. Keep in mind, he'd been there for 17 years. They largely cleared out anything that was going to come bother them. He'd been prepared for all that. My God. You know, people fled the town and then were slaughtered by the government, not too far away from the town. So it's like he fully was aware of what was out there, and people had just kind of steered clear of it because of the chaos around everything. But my God. But again, what a fucking take, right? Brokeback Zombie Farm. You know, like I know Brokeback Mountain is just like a meme. I get that. It's just a fucking meme. Like, I understand that. To me, the whole thing is kind of ridiculous because in regards to the meme, it comes across as like wildly homophobic. You know, it's like when we were looking at Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers last week talking about it, and he was like, it's an agenda. And I'm like, dude, the same month the game came out, the Supreme Court legalized gay marriage. Like, it was profound. Actually, it was really funny is SNL made fun of this kind of last night. They made fun of it a little bit on the Mario Kart adaptation for HBO with Pedro Pascal as Mario, which was a great little bit. And what was it? Toad. And who else came out as bisexual? Like, two guys in the show came out as bisexual, you know, and it just was like, they both like made sure to let everyone know that they're bi. And to me, that was really funny because that's like, again, something that does happen in these shows, but they were just pointing out that I think they were kind of talking about like, you know, this specific episode. But it was crazy. Oh, sorry, Music Man. Sorry, buddy. My bad, dude. I didn't realize. I'm sorry. It's a really good show. You should really check it out. You should really see it. Fandom Menace here says G&G is still crying about the episode. Of course they are. Of course they are. Those guys, look, man, those guys operate in the world where if they're not complaining about something, then they're not quote unquote working. You know, I mean, that's all they can do. It's like, oh my God, gay dudes. I mean, how much you want to bet? Like, they've absolutely watched gay porn. Like, I would guarantee it at this point that they've absolutely done that. It's just crazy. Garrick here says conservatives have proven time and time again they are terrible at media literacy. It doesn't matter if it's the Fandom Menace or Shapiro / Rubin. No, they really don't. They really don't have any actual understanding of you know, of like literary criticism or just understanding of like how stories are made. It's like, you know, I was talking to H-Barts today and he was watching the Critical Drinker episode we did a couple weeks ago about how, you know, how he's a moron. Critical Drinker is just a moron. And people have reached out to me after I criticized that video and they were like, he used to do good content. He used to do highly critical content that was actually really entertaining. And now he just like jumps on this lazy ass bandwagon, you know, and his arguments, again, if you go back and you watch that video, which has like over 1.5 million views, probably closer to 2 million at this point. I don't quite know. I guarantee you he's probably made somewhere in the neighborhood of about $5,000 to $8,000 off of that one video. That's how much money he's probably made off that one video, is about $5,000 to $8,000. And in that entire screed, that entire bitch fest about things he knows nothing about. He provides only one example of a failed male character, and that is Luke Skywalker. And believe it or not, in that moment, I kind of agree with some of the points he was trying to make. Not entirely, but that's neither here nor there. But up to that, his entire part one had no real example. He talks about, look at what's on TV, stop, go watch, come back. He doesn't provide an example, doesn't provide anything that's actually going to show you what's on television. He just makes all these generalizations. We went through the whole video. It's a terrible video. But it's like, this is what influences people. This is what influences people. This is what influences these guys to be as dumb as they fucking are. And again, I think a lot of this might have to tie into a little bit of what's, a big thing at this point, the incel world. I think a lot of this stuff ties into incels, which kind of brings me to the main topic of the evening. I know it's a weird segue, but look, we can talk here about, about Zack Snyder's, sell the Snyderverse to Netflix. All right. And it's just, here we go. So this is a video. I'm going to play this clip. This is from, hold on, I got to find that damn thing again. This is from Sil Abdul. He did a podcast yesterday talking about this. And I want you guys to listen to this. And I want you to listen to, for one, just how low energy he is when talking about this, how he's searching for things to try to prop it up, how he's trying to run hype for something that there's really no hype for. And I especially want you guys to listen to what he's talking about in regards to Forbes. Forbes, which is a, how do we describe Forbes? Okay. What is Forbes.com? Let's just ask this, what this here. All right. So it's an American business magazine, or if you ask it here, it's an American business magazine owned by Integrated Whale Media Investments and the Forbes family. Publishes 8 times a year. And that's about it. It's just whatever. All right. It's all it is. It's just another magazine where they talk about current topics. And that's not even something you would even consider massive. Hold on. I just want to look this up here too as well. What exactly does, what's Forbes monthly visits? All right. Forbes.com, gets about, I think it gets about 100 million views and clicks a month, which is actually pretty good. It's number 18 in the United States. So it's not like a small outlet, but keep that in mind. Keep that in mind a little bit, because that plays into this. So here, give this a listen.
In this sale campaign, it's clear, let's get Netflix attention, but if someone else steps up, that's great.
Real quick, notice that where it's like, it's called SellZSJLToNetflix, but if it gets somebody else's attention, then that could even do well. You have to understand and you have to look. There's always goalposts moving. That's the thing to remember.
Not really a hard concept at all. And in fact, Forbes covered this 4 times already. And
real quick, capture that. Forbes covered this 4 times. We're going to talk about that.
2 of the times they talked about the possibilities that this could happen with Netflix. And I kind of trust Forbes more because they are more of the financial side, but then they also had their top contributor who deals with the geek, the geek side of things. They had them write the article. And they detailed that, yeah, Netflix can do it. It's just a matter of the costs. And in that same Forbes article, it said, well, if Netflix even tries to bid, that can get other people involved. So even they understood what this hashtag sell means. But this is what I'm understanding, especially on Twitter and other places on social media. People don't really read. They don't really research. They just go off of, a couple of words and, nothing beneath the surface. It's been very clear by Forbes, which I think it gets more views than any of us little YouTubers get, any of our little accounts on Twitter or Facebook. I think Forbes kind of carries a little further, right? And they understood it. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna kind of rock with what Forbes is saying in this, and be educated, or if you want to blindly follow just some random person on social media, um, that's on y'all. The numbers have been doing great as far as with this campaign, with just the updates that we're getting. And 214 is 10 days away.
Yeah, so 214 is 10 days away at the time of this. This was yesterday. All right. So if you really look at what he was saying there, he's talking about Forbes, right? Forbes that does get 100 million clicks a month. All right. So if we take a look here, just real quick, we're going to go into the articles a little bit here. But if we take a quick look at what exactly they say here, you can see here, this article here, January 12th, 2023, right? Warner Brothers Discovery selling DCEU Snyderverse and Netflix is surprisingly the best option. All right. 58,000 views. Now on Mark Hughes here, this is Mark Hughes's thing. His articles don't generally tend to pull in a lot. I mean, Avatar does. All right. Avatar stuff pulls in quite a bit. But other than that, anything out without Avatar in it, Marvel Studios' approach to DC superhero movies might look like, right? This is what he's writing an article about the James Gunn thing, 474 views. What the new DC Studios plan means for the future of WBD superheroes, 588 views, right? But then again, just yesterday, I read an article, Avatar sequel won't sink Titanic as third highest grossing film, 9,000 views on that one. This guy is balls deep into the Snyder fandom. All right. Balls deep into this thing. So it's really not what you would consider anything like, okay, that's decent clicks, I guess you could say, for that particular website, but really not much. And so we got to go back to like the first article here. And that is this is the one that Paul Tassi had written. And Paul Tassi had written this back on Jan 9th. All right. Jan 9th, 2023, which is when the first bits of information had come out about all this. Okay. He writes about this. It's just a very little article, right? Titled, where to start with the new sell Zack Snyder Justice League to Netflix movement, right? Where to start? What's going on with this? What do we do? It's a 4-minute article to read, to listen to. Okay. Now he says here, when the history books of the internet are written, there should be an entire chapter dedicated to the fan base of Zack Snyder's Justice League and the Snyderverse. It's a group that is more passionate about the superhero universe than fans of any other piece of media I've ever seen. So much so, they frequently come off as quite delusional. Right. So keep in mind, Sill is all about this. He's like, oh, this is great. This is great. They've talked about it 4 times. They actually haven't. They've talked about it twice. You can actually Google. You can actually look. I'll look this up real quick here, right? Look, Zack Snyder. There we go. Okay. Most recent. January 12th, January 9th. Other than that, August 30th, where Paul Tassi had written an article said WB execs reportedly regret greenlighting Zack Snyder's Justice League cut. So Forbes, which is informed, Forbes, which is smart, Forbes, which is all of these things that Sill is trying to sell you on. And it's really funny. Enterprising here says, unless you want to follow some random person on social media, I know, Pot Meat Kettle, 100%. I know. It just cracks me the hell up with this shit, because what we're talking about is just fallacy. It's just fallacy after fallacy after fallacy after fallacy. It's like, yes, have people talked about sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix? Yeah, they have. Yeah. There's actually been a few articles written about it. All right, let me bring this one up here real quick. Take a look here at Google. We can see that there were a number of them there. We Got This Covered talked about this a month ago. Forbes talked about this 3 weeks ago. Screen Rant talked about this a month ago. Screen Geek 3 weeks ago. Fandom Wire, not even really about that. Fandom Wire, can Netflix make a Black Adam cinematic universe? What? I didn't even see this one. Let me take a look at this real quick. Hold on. So can Netflix make a Black Adam cinematic universe? Fans implore James Gunn let Warner Brothers license Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam to Netflix for The Rock's own superhero movie. No, I could guarantee you right now that's that's not happening, guys. That is not what the ever loving ass. All right. Oh my God. Again, it's like The Rock had talked about it a little bit, said that there was a multi-year plan for Black Adam that apparently ruffled feathers internally. Dwayne James Gonson said, I got to tell you, Morgan and David, one of the hardest things I've had to do, and it's one of the greater disciplines that we have to practice when we're in this position, is you have to be careful with how much you get pulled into the sludge of media reporting. Now, that's not an overall criticism, but you do want to be careful about it. So it was very difficult. Wait, let me rephrase that. It was challenging to exercise that kind of discipline to let these reports just come out. So, considering the fact that The Rock had, and we talked about this even on the show, that The Rock had gone through and he had fought back against the media. All right. So now he's out there trying to do all this stuff, but of course, if you look here, the Snyder Queen is a key proponent of all this stuff. And she's also absolutely effing psychotic, if you want my honest opinion. There's a lot of those guys that are. Talks here about how he had a meeting with Zaslav and Garcia to discuss the future and how they can build across the WBD platform. Could Warner Brothers Pictures and Netflix facilitate a licensing agreement to continue Black Adam? # sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix. So now they're trying to rope in, right? Now they're trying to rope in Dwayne Johnson. They're trying to rope in everything with Black Adam, right? Because even this guy here says, makes you wonder what's going on behind the scenes. Gunn hasn't announced anything yet. So this is before the announcement by almost 2 weeks. So maybe we are being heard. Maybe Zaslav should meet with Deb Snyder and restore the Snyderverse. And it's just all of this stuff, all it does is constantly perpetuate the goalpost moving. And these websites like Fandom Wire, which is now just an extension of Animated Times, they're writing articles about this, which get people to ask the question, oh, could they actually do this? Could they actually do this? No, they're not going to know. Here, again, some people talked about it. It's stuff that's happening, not too much, right? A lot of this is just freaking whatever. But we can see here that not a lot of people here. I'll just, I'll do this again where we have just where we just have that right here. All right. So there. Sell Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay. And you got some other articles here that are talking about it. But really, again, none of this stuff is really even about that. There's no one outside of Twitter that is talking about this kind of stuff. So that's the interesting side of it, right? That's the interesting angle that we have to approach when really discussing all of these things surrounding sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix. And so when we again go back to this Mark Hughes article here, right? This is the article they're holding on to because this is the one that is being put forth by an actual sycophant of Zack Snyder, an actual fan of the Snyderverse, right? It's like inside baseball. Never mind the fact that, Forbes had fired one of the Faruqi brothers because he had interviewed Ray Fisher, and Ray Fisher talked about Joss Whedon, and Forbes fired him. All right. Let's see. Let me try to find that article here. Shiraz Faruqi. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here's an article here. The Guilfordian. All right. This is a college outlet. This is a college outlet here. Okay. Muslim Forbes journalist fired for Justice League interview. Okay. So Muslim Forbes journalist Shiraz Faruqi had been fired over an article he published concerning actor Ray Fisher's allegations of abuse by director Joss Whedon and several Warner Brothers executives during reshoots for Justice League. So on October 29, 2020, Faruqi published an article detailing an interview with Fisher in which Fisher spoke about his continued dispute with Warner Brothers. The story title and some of the quotes had been updated since the article's publication, as the editors determined that the original story and title lacked journalistic rigor and fairness. A lot of people believed that Joss Whedon's team had reached out to Forbes and got them to take down the article and got them to fire Shiraz Faruqi. The reason why this is interesting is, again, what we have here is we've got Sil, all right? We've got Sil out here on a live stream talking to people about sell Zack Snyder Justice League to Netflix. And he keeps talking about Forbes as being this thing, right? This bastion of journalistic integrity, this paragon of virtue that is for smart people. Never mind, it's just one guy who writes about Avatar for the website. And these are the same outlet that fired a pro Snyderverse reporter, actual verified journalist on Twitter, because of a Ray Fisher interview. So where the fuck is all that outrage? Where the fuck is all of that shit when you talk about this? And it's not like these guys don't know this. They've been around long enough to where they know, but it doesn't matter. Because when you look at Sil here and you look at his absolute grift and how he keeps selling people on fucking lies because he has to. He knows that remember, he banked everything. Snyderverse is continuing. The Ayer cut's coming in 2022. Bam, 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 bam. And now it's James Gunn's not doing any of that. Oh, well, now we're going to try to sell it to Netflix. We're going to try to push Netflix or get somebody else to come on in and bid. Forbes is the one talking about us here. Blah, blah, blah. I guarantee you more people probably saw the Screen Rant article than anything else. But the Screen Rant article, I believe, was written by Stephen Colbert, who's part of Dave, the Film Junkies friend group. And those guys don't like Dave and those crew because they talk to Zack Snyder. And to them, it seems like they have got, connections, and therefore they're sellouts. Therefore, they're not the real fans. All right, Castor here says Mark Hughes works for Batman on film, or he works or worked for Batman on film. It's Stephen Colbert. Yeah, not that Stephen Colbert. But that's literally his name, Plushie. I'm not even making that up. Here. This is for 5. It says, it's like these Snyderverse fanboys clearly don't understand how basic copyright laws work. No, they don't. Remember, they also pushed, they also were backing Chris Wozniak, right? Chris Wozniak, Batman Gate. They were doing Batman Gate. Remember all that stuff? You know what I mean? They're doing all that shit. And he's the one that he's filed a lawsuit against Warner Brothers, and they're countersuing him for copyright violation, And so it's like, it's so stupid. Hey, what's up? What's going on, guys? How you doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing good. You have to let me know how Star Trek is. I haven't seen anything since Picard episode 2, I think. So I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Check out the podcast. They do really, really, really good videos. I really recommend them. They're good guys. So check them out. They got a lot more subs than me, so they're good. But yeah, anyway, that's, the one angle I wanted to touch upon here with this stuff is just that these guys are just severely diminished in regards to stuff. And I think we need to talk about the other side of this also is, quite frankly, guys, there's a bit of a problem. I think there's a growing incel community that's popping up with these guys. And this is the tweet I had brought up on the thumbnail. This is from a guy named Batdan. All right. He says here, I've been single for 28 and a half years. So fuck Valentine's Day. 214-day campaigning for hashtag sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix, and sell Snyderverse to Netflix is where it's at. Right? This to me is the poster child for holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. Where is this going to go next? Now look, Batdan seems like a nice enough guy, but he is so swindled into this cult. This guy actually pretended to be me, like he fired up a burner account, pretended to be me, I think on Max's stream, felt so guilty about it. He actually DM'd me the next day to let me know. I had no knowledge of it, but he felt so guilty about it and then immediately blocked me on Twitter so I couldn't respond. That was pretty funny. But these guys this guy is so in this that instead of trying to better his own life, and I'm not the biggest Valentine's Day fan in general, but him going like, I've been single for 28 years, which implies to me that he's 28 and a half years old. He's single, most likely a virgin, yearning for companionship, yearning for love, yearning to be seen by somebody. So instead of going out and trying to, like find love, which is the day apparently, right? Or at least doing things to better his own life, he's just going to go on Twitter and he's just going to spam this hashtag. It's, yes, the incels. Spherical man, holy shit. Yeah, the incels is a good way to look at it. 100%. Guys, it's scary. But we're noticing a lot of this kind of stuff on social media. If you've looked at the Snyder Cut, there's someone who mentioned earlier asking if this tweet, because I cropped out the name of the person on the thumbnail, if it was Savage Bat, because it sounds like something Savage Bat would say. But this is where this life is going. It's like, and again, it's put on by people like Sill, who keep pushing the goalpost. When 214 comes and passes and nothing happens, there might be an article written by Mark Hughes about it on fucking Forbes, but there wasn't 4 mentions. There's only 2 mentions of it on Forbes. Maybe it was mentioned, maybe it was retweeted. I don't know. And they just took that as another indication of it. But even looking at the view count of that article that got shared around, still 58,000 views. That's nothing. That's a drop in the hat. That's a drop in the bucket, a drop in the ocean compared to 100 million monthly visits. 100 million monthly visits. That is nothing. That's minuscule. It's infinitesimal. But they seem to think that that's going to be enough to move the needle. It's not going to happen. Popcast here says, yeah, Sell Snyder's nonsense is silly. Sill is a grifter. Yes. I mean, yes, we could have conversations about that. Anyway, he says here, we saw Picard season 3 early and it's the best Star Trek since Voyager, hands down. Excited to see your reaction. I got to watch season 1 and season 2. I got like a week. I might fire up. I might have to give him a watch. I do like Picard. I'm not a Star Trek guy, but I do love TNG. So there's all of that, right? So then we have to ask the question here. Is it possible to sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix? No, it's not. It's not. It's not possible. I'm sorry. It's just not possible. It's not going to fucking happen. Not in a million years. Are they going to sell Black Adam to Netflix? No, not in a million fucking years. Not in a million fucking years. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, guys. You guys here, you guys who listen to this show, you guys know what I'm talking about. People who are outside listening to this. If you listen to James Gunn the other day, Gunn had talked about that, right? Gunn had talked about that. Gunn had said flat out that there was going to be, they want cohesion. They want to have cohesion, and continuity. There's a lot there. Here, we'll bring it up again just so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Because I want you guys to see this. I want to know, for one, I want to know that I'm not crazy, but I remember it being there. So let's listen.
I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity.
Now, there he goes right there. They want to be consistent across television, film, animation, and gaming. They want to have the same actors portraying the characters in television, film, animation, and gaming. Now, people will like to harp, they'll like to focus. Well, what about the Elseworlds thing? He talked about Batman, he talks about the Joker and Teen Titans Go. Yes, those 3 projects are definitely Elseworlds. Animated shows like Batwheels are definitely going to be considered Elseworlds, but do not expect them to invest money in Elseworlds projects. David Zaslav has said that he's not against licensing content, DC content to other streamers, because there's money there. But when it comes, but this was also, he said these things before DC Studios was formed. James Gunn and Peter Safran, as co-CEOs, oversee all of DC. Movies, television, animation, gaming, and comics, I would assume. They have control over it all. They have to run ideas past Zaslav, obviously when it comes to the green light side of things, but they're the ones who are there developing the projects, seeing the projects over the finish line, and making sure that they're the best they can possibly be. They are not going to fuck with anything new that's going to take away from their current DCU slate. Did you notice that, like, in the announcement, he talked about the Joker and he talked about the Batman, but he didn't really mention anything new that was an Elseworld story? He just wants people to know that those worlds are not connected to this one. But everything else is going to be connected to this one, which means if Netflix came along or Amazon came along or Apple came along, whatever, and they were like, they rolled up to the table, they rolled up to Zazzy's house and they were like, here's $700 million. We want to license Zack Snyder's Justice League. We want to get it all made. He, for one, that never happened, but he'd never take the deal because he knows that the people that he brought into the fold to take over, to restructure things, to rebuild in the MCU image are these 2 guys. And he's not going to want to fuck with that, because if he sells Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix, do you really think that James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to stick around while they've just been publicly bent over and fucked by their boss? No. Why would they? They've been brought in and entrusted with overseeing the next generation, making it work and getting it away from the previous bullshit. You know, James Gunn openly admitted that Henry Cavill had been dicked around by the previous regime. Well, the previous regime includes Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Mike DeLuca, Pam Abdi, Toby Emmerich, and even Walter Hamada, people that he's friends with. They also know that anyone who came along, he says, anyone who came along with a smile would have been granted, the rights to do something whatever they wanted with Netflix or with DC. And that's relatively true. Hamada was kind of all about having things not be connected, building to a larger Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline with Jim Lee. I believe that was their intent, which they had learned, I think, from Berlanti, what he had accomplished over there in the Arrowverse. But that wasn't really coming together fast enough, and they simply didn't have the money and there wasn't the public interest for it. And I think a big part of that was the fact that they also didn't really establish it as being a congruent narrative that they were building towards. I mean, if you read between the lines, you could see it. But again, most people aren't going to know what that is. Most people aren't going to care. And they just go, but Marvel does it. And that's what James Gunn and Peter Safran are now there to do. And if they get publicly butt fucked by their boss and he undercuts their creative choices to not continue with certain things, they're not going to stick around. Well, here, Plushy says Batman Cape Crusader got sold off. It hasn't been sold off yet. It hasn't been sold off yet. So there's that. It could happen though. He didn't mention the Gotham Knights show. Nobody wants that. But there was just new casting like last week, I think. Popcast here says, imagine Black Adam on Netflix. Holy shit, what a mess that would be. I mean, yeah. It would be as feckless as Red Notice would be. Now, Buddy Love here says Zaz already has their ideas for the next 10 years. I don't think he'll care if they leave. Yeah, he will, because you've still got to get that shit over the fucking finish line. All right. That's the thing. Like, you have to get them. They have to get the projects over the fucking finish line. You know, like, that's the whole point, is like, that's their job. That's why Hamada was going to quit in August, but he stayed to finish Black Adam, to get that over the finish line, because that was his job. That was the professional thing to do. You know, Popcast asks, do you think that doing Swamp Thing before Constantine was a mistake? Yeah, a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen with Constantine, though. I as much as I want it, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't think much will happen with that, to be fair. And I say that only because they, like, again, that was kind of something that was under like Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. So, and it's only in development. Like Francis Lawrence is like attached, but like he hasn't signed anything. As far as I know, no deal has been made, but anything could happen. With any luck, we'll get it. I really do want us to get it. But the other part of it too, the 700 million, Rodney, is just like a number that's been thrown out there. It's not indicative of anything. But the thing to consider, the real thing to consider though, is like, let's say, for example, let's just talk hypothetically, right? And I'm not a big fan of hypotheticals, but we'll entertain the idea. What if they decided to do it? What if they bought the rights? Let's say Netflix buys the rights. Now they got to get everyone back together. Okay. So buying the rights, remember, Amazon dropped $250 million. Well, $225 million. Sorry. $225 million for just the licensing rights to the Rings of Power before they had a show, before they had a concept. They just getting the rights, $225 million. They came in with less of an offer than even Warner Brothers. I think, or Warner's or Netflix has offered like $250. It might have been Netflix had offered $250. But because they had allowed for more control over the finished product with the estate took that $25 million less and got that back in executive control. And, you know, that's what I'm saying here is like, Netflix would have to spend the money for the licensing rights. Then they would have to go to $7 Productions, work a deal with Dwayne to get Dwayne to come on in to kind of show run this stuff for Black Adam. Most fucking likely, guys, again, speculative, they would go to Dwayne, who's been a key player with them, $7 key player with, you know, some movies over on Netflix. And they would go, okay, let's do Black Adam 2. We need Henry Cavill. Well, Cavill just kind of left Netflix unceremoniously, if you think about it, going over to Amazon to do Warhammer. And so as a result of that, he's going to be over in his little play box. He's not going to want to come out of there. But they'd have to get the money to lure him back out. To get the money to lure him back out, you know what he would want? More control. Okay, so let's say they give him more control. They can do another Man of Steel before they get him to come out to do Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. He'd want another movie. He'd probably want 2 movies. And a litany of cameos and hundreds of millions of dollars in an upfront development deal. That would have to happen after he gets done working on Warhammer, of which he's already signed agreements and that he's already working on. So his big lifetime, his big love, which is Warhammer, he'd have to walk away from that in order to go work on this. Not going to happen, but okay, let's just run with that. Then they'd have to pull Ben Affleck out to become Batman again. All right, well, Ben Affleck's over 50. He still looks really good. He had to go through some training again. But what about the new company that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon just formed? They're actually looking to put out a couple movies a year. Low budget movies that are meant to work with smaller artists in order to get some different stories told. It's a new endeavor with the $100 million capital that they were able to get in order to make these movies. So now Ben Affleck's new career of writing and directing smaller movies is going to end up having to be upheaved, if you will, to then get in, again, enough money has to come in to warrant making it worth his time to come back to do Justice League 2, Justice League 3, potentially even his own Batman movie. Okay, fine. Let's say they want to fork out the money for that. Well, Ray Fisher would be easy. Not a problem there. Ezra Miller probably wouldn't be much of a problem. What about Gal? Gal's doing Heart of Stone with them as well as Red Notice 2 and 3. So she would probably be on board. Wouldn't really be much of a problem. But would she be able to get another Wonder Woman movie? Would they actually pay to license another Wonder Woman movie? One that would allow her to finish out her trilogy in the best way possible. Ooh, I don't know about that. Because they probably need to get more money in order to be able to get her movie. because it wouldn't just be that shit. There would have to be promises of more on the table. Then they'd have to get Zach. Now, would Zach even want to come back after all this time? Because here's the thing. They would need someone to oversee the production. They would need a production company. Could it be Deborah Snyder? Sure. But if you want to bring it in and have it work with the top dog talent, that would probably also have to fall under Black Adam, because Dwayne The Rock Johnson isn't going to play second fiddle to no one. So would he play second fiddle to Deb Snyder and Zack Snyder and Stone Quarry? Probably not. He'd probably have a deal that they'd have to work underneath him, that they'd be a subsidiary of $7 Productions in this particular LLC, this particular production. So now you got to have Zach working with Dwayne and everything else. It's just, there's so much complications. And that's not even talking about like anything else, man. That's not even talking about anything else. That is literally just the cast and the talent. Not even like the tangling of like distribution, the home video rights. Cause you know, Warner's is like going to want to get a piece of that home video shit. You know, like it's so freaking much. It's not, the headache is there. All I'm saying here is this shit. It's just crazy. That's all it is, guys. You know, that's my rant on that, but it's completely right. Music Manager says there would have to be more even after JL2 and 3. It wouldn't finish it. I mean, if Zach was done after that, does that mean everyone else is done? I mean, they're all going to want to get their payday. Actors like to act and actors like to get paid, and actors have a lot of people that they pay. There's a lot of managers, agents, publicists, assistants, you know, like there's a lot that they have to pay for. So Mikey here says, it's too much drama with the Snyderverse. It's great that James Gunn is basically wiping the slate clean. Yeah, it's true. That's very true. Rational here says Deadshot and Shazam are going to be in JL2 and 3, so you'd have to need Levy and Will Smith back too. I mean, yeah. And Zachary Levi probably wouldn't do it because he's loyal to Safran and Gunn, his friends. It's just, there's so much of a complication there, and people who simply do not know what the fuck it is that they're talking about keep running with this shit like they fucking do. And that's my biggest problem. That is why Sill needs to be laughed off the fucking internet. And in many ways, his fan base ain't going to fucking do it. His fan base ain't going to stop. All right. But like, it's just, he's not going to stop doing it. He's not going to stop lying because he makes money. And that's the saddest thing about it, folks. That's literally the saddest thing about it, because then we get shit like this. I've been single for 28 and a half years. So fuck Valentine's Day. This is one of his biggest guys. This is one of his biggest supporters. It's sad, guys. It's absolutely fucking sad. But that's where we are. That is why there's no real hype surrounding sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix. The logistics are a nightmare that no company would want to touch in a million years. And no, the truth is Warner Brothers has got, I should say this, by the way, if they were to license, by the way, here's the thing I forgot about. If they were to license, they would only license the content, but they would still probably maintain the production. I forgot to mention that. I was saying on like a speculatory what if scenario. The studio would still be overseeing the film. Netflix is simply just the distribution of the film and the financing. And they would have a definite say. They have their creative executives there as well, but that's where it is. So yeah, that's my story. That's my thing. But we are now at the 1 hour and 30-minute mark. It is a school night, so I do have to get to bed. But we do have a little oldie but a goodie from our pal Command Unit here. This is the Space Hulk Vengeance of Blood Angels PC intro. I do like these things, by the way. I like the old school look. So that is going, has the Snyder fandom ever doxed me? I was doxed back in 2017 or 2015. I was doxed. So I'm already doxed. I don't give a shit. They know who the fuck I am. I don't care. I don't care. Let them cry. I don't give a fuck. But that being said, yeah, so we're going to check out this thing and then we're going to close it out after that, guys. If you haven't already, please consider leaving a like. You can join the Discord, link in the video description. If you do want to support the channel, Patreon is literally the best way to do it. YouTube does not take 30%. And yeah, right now that is the preferred method in my honest opinion, for multiple reasons, which I can get into at a later date. But anyway, I'll be back on tomorrow night. Also, the Podio commentary for Silent Hill will be up tomorrow for patrons, patreon.com/MattJarbo. If not, available Wednesday morning for everyone to listen to. And I'll see you guys later. Have yourself a good one. Let's enjoy some Space Hulk. Oh, look at that sexiness. Electronic Arts, baby. Oof.
More than 25 millennia ago, mankind began the first tentative steps to the stars. Equipped both with shockingly primitive technology and a burning desire for exploration and conquest, man slowly, blindly made his way to the nearest systems outside his own. With the discovery of the warp drive came the great expansion, as what was once a journey of several centuries became a journey of several days. Warp space was tricky and dangerous stuff, and not to be entered lightly. Many ships simply vanished, never to be seen again. With the discovery of the navigator gene, which allowed ships' pilots to make longer, more accurate warp jumps, interstellar travel became much safer, and soon men were exploring all of the nearby stars. Alien contact followed shortly thereafter, and, with grim inevitability, the first alien wars. The pattern was set. The Gene Stealers are the most enigmatic of races. Fierce warriors, they eschew the use of weapons in combat. Highly intelligent, they build nothing of their own, relying solely upon the technology of conquered people. Possessing an incredibly strong survival drive, they die fearlessly in battle. Vicious, destructive, they choose to conquer through seduction and infiltration rather than overt battle. At first glance, it is difficult to believe that a cunning and malign intelligence lurks within the Gene Stealer's bestial exterior. A Gene Stealer resembles the most fearsome monsters of ancient legend, a horror of teeth, claws, and glittering savage eyes. Protected by a remarkably strong carapace, through which protrude ropes of sinewy muscle, the creature stands in a perpetual crouch atop its clawed feet. Two sets of arms descend from its massive shoulders, one equipped with fingers, the other with powerful claws. Its long, thick head is equipped with a fearsome array of fangs and an even more frightening pair of eyes.
I do dig the music though. Music's pretty good. If it got sold to Netflix, sure, I'd be excited. I would be. I would be.
There are 1,000 chapters of Space Marines, each of 1,000 Marines, 1,000,000 battle brothers. The best 100 Marines in each chapter are trained in the use of Terminator armor, fantastic battle armor created in the dark ages of technology. Also known as tactical dreadnought armor, Terminator Exo Armor is a development of the sealed environment suits used by spaceship crews. Exo Armor is constructed from heavy-gauge plasteel plating, forming an armored shell that can withstand even the colossal impact of high-speed orbital micro-debris. It is the only readily available armor suitable for working inside the high-pressure casings of plasma reactor shields, or the extremely corrosive environments inside the holds of bulk chemical carriers. These same qualities, suitably enhanced by the Adeptus Mechanicus, make Terminator armor virtually invulnerable to most weapons. Terminator suits contain their own independent power supply and life support systems. They are heavily armed, and many also carry teleport homers, bioscanners, energy scanners, auto sensors, suspensors, and targeters for their weapons and communicators.
This is an intro?
Almost all Space Marine chapters have suits of Terminator armor and train a small number of their best Marines to use them. The suits are valuable and often very old. Many bear scars or medallions commemorating past actions and are treated with the reverence due to ancient relics.
Well, all right then. That was definitely interesting. Great ASMR. Sure. Apparently, I just saw a thing real quick that I guess like Hogwarts Legacy. Well, yeah, no, it's up now, right? It's up now, I think, isn't it? Because it hit the let's see here, Hogwarts Legacy. I wonder if anyone's streaming it right now. All right, hold on. Okay, I guess not. Because I know it's I know that there's what is it? When does it come unlocked? I thought it was, or is it just doing it now? I don't quite know. Anyway, yeah. I don't know. I thought it was out. I thought we could check out a bit of it right there. All right, Command Unit here. Thank you. Says EA, what should be the intro for a game? EA devs, let's make a documentary. EA in the 90s for sure. Yeah, that's very true. Okay. Oh, it comes out on Tuesday. Okay. That's right. You can preload it now. All right. I do want to get it, but I'm going to wait a little bit to get it. So, anyway. All right, everybody. On that note, I'm going to go to bed. It's midnight. 7 a.m. comes quick. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again for listening. Have yourself a great night, everybody, and peace the fuck out.